Now, this topic is certainly a very, very important issue to the Black community, and we have still got a long way to go in achieving equitable healthcare across the country. Back with us again is Dr. Blackstock, founder and CEO of Advancing Health Equity. Vanessa Broadhurst, EVP of Global Corporate Affairs for Johnson & Johnson, and Dr. Roden, Head of Marketing for Primason. So thank you so much for being here and being really an example of excellence. I'm going to ask the first question, Dr. Blackstock. So talk about the type of things and why it's so important for Johnson & Johnson to engage what you're doing, to engage this fragmented market and let people know you're not by yourselves.
Exactly.
And tell us how you have been able to really put a bullhorn on your message and what you're doing with, of course, the help of a great strategic partner like Johnson & Johnson.
Well, Damon, I mean, there are groups out there that are working in communities,
Yours, for sure.
or organizations like my own, Advancing Health Equity, but even community-based organizations that are working on growing healthy foods within our communities, increasing the amount of green space in our community so people can exercise outside, dealing with issues of public safety so people can walk in their neighborhoods and get exercise and feel, like they're taking care of themselves. But, I think education is incredibly important, making sure people have the opportunities to take care of themselves. And I think that some of the groups that we have worked with in our Johnson & Johnson Health Equity Challenge are addressing the needs of communities. And I always say we have to center the community voices first and help support them in resources, funding, and mentorship so they can advance the goals of our communities. I'm thinking about even one of our awardees. It was a digital app to help Black mothers, new mothers, to form a community, to get to know other mothers going through the same experiences for help with breastfeeding and other postpartum issues. And that founder of that app just needed the help, the support, the funding, the mentorship to get that app out to other mothers in the audience that they needed. And so I think it's just so important that Johnson & Johnson is really driving these efforts that are community-centered and helping to amplify the voices. And that's what I do in my work with Advancing Health Equity. I am an advocate for our communities, centering our voices and making sure that our priorities, our values are heard.
And that's a great segue because I love talking to Vanessa about how can Johnson & Johnson help me understand to get this racial equality when it comes to healthcare in my communities, because even as employers, I want my staff to be healthy.
Oh yeah. To be perfectly honest, we need entrepreneurs at Johnson & Johnson. We need to partner within the community to essentially understand the community, embrace the community, and live into our mission to drive better health equity and health outcomes for everybody. And that goes from, essentially what Dr. Blackstock was talking about in terms of our investments in startups that help Black and brown people. But it's also leaning in on our clinical trial programs and making sure that we have strong representation in all of our trials, because people aren't the same. And we need to make sure that we are embracing all people when we do our scientific work. We all need to work towards not only improving that care by having more people come into the system that look like us and work for corporations like J&J to essentially be part of the solutions, but also to create new ideas. I love the idea of the digital health app that links Black mothers together. Yeah. When you think about other, initiatives that we've done in that area, we need more Black entrepreneurs thinking about these solutions. We need to invest in the communities through suppliers. If you're an advertising agency startup, we want to hear from you. We need to hit the ground in all of these areas. It's not just the health equity space, it is creating wealth through employment, and that can be employment in large companies like Johnson & Johnson. That can be employment because you started your own company and you're a supplier and we need to work with you. So that's the type of partnership that we're looking to foster, because it's only through that whole ecosystem where we can start to create real innovative change.
And what I like about this, it's not one way to engage with Johnson & Johnson. I'm a minority vendor or a supplier. I'm a I'm a doctor, I want funding, I want to be part of the focus group on giving, I need materials to educate my community or staff, right? So there's so many different ways. I know we're going to be putting up stuff that people can know where to go to. So Dr. Roden, why is strengthening diversity, equity, and inclusion in science so essential?
At the end of the day, the statistics are sobering, right? We have 2% of STEM jobs that are held by Black women, 2%.
Wow.
And when you look at the Black, Latinx, and Indigenous population combined, represents really more than 30%, 33% of the US population, and only 11% hold science and engineering roles today. This has to change. We must change the face of science. And so we need to prepare a broader segment of the population to really participate in this future. And so I'd really encourage us to talk to our young people, expose them to STEM programs. There's a STEM program a Google click away. Really demystify science and expose them to science careers. I'm honored to be part of the Johnson & Johnson Innovation Board Fellows Program. It's a one-year program that really provides access to education, to executive coaching, and really helps to bolster our candidacy for board roles. Right? These are the types of programs that we'll need to implement going forward. But at the end of the day, for those entrepreneurs who are listening, who are in the life sciences space, please take time to really determine, do you have diversity, equity, and inclusion as part of your DNA? As you're engaging in clinical trials, is there diversity, equity, and inclusion top of mind? We need to ensure that we're focused on this because really it's important for our future.
And Johnson & Johnson is, driving the conversation. I know health is something that you constantly have to work on. Whatever you figured out today may not be the answer tomorrow, and we just got to keep improving. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for Johnson & Johnson holding the Innovation of Health and Equity Roundtable. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.